Welcome back to Robert Loyale, where I show you the ins and outs of graphic design as pertains to t-shirts, logos, and GIF animations. And today for T-Shirt Tuesday, I show you how to recreate a popular style seen in Gucci graphic t-shirt lines. Now, a lot of pre-planning went into this tutorial, which included me drawing out the elements used for this design in Procreate and creating a step-by-step guide that will help you achieve this iconic look. In this, I teach you how to turn a drawing into a scalable vector, how to create starburst effects in Adobe Illustrator, how to color these elements using gradients, and how to texture images in Adobe Illustrator. So if you like this one, give me a thumbs up. And if you found me through an algorithm shift or somebody shared this video out, then go ahead and subscribe. I do this all the time. And if you have any comments, questions, concern, or you like to request another effect used in this series, then leave in the comment section below. I'll definitely do it for you. With that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and make magic. Alright you guys, so now that we're in Illustrator, all I did was I just dropped in this PNG that I created in Procreate on my iPad Pro. Now, I'm not going to say that I'm the best artist out there, but this is pretty awesome. So I like this. It's in a style that's kind of like Gucci or whatnot, and that looks pretty cool. So however, the thing is, it came as a PNG, and some of the problems that you get with the PNG is that it's pixelated. As you can see, a lot of pixels. I don't even have to zoom all the way in for you to see it. It's a lot of blurs and stuff like that, and that's not a problem because we're going to be doing a lot of stuff with blurs later on. But as of right now, we got to turn this into a vector, and there's a few ways of doing this. The first way is to just outline it, draw it all out, you know, pretty much what I do all the time. However, I don't want to backtrack and do something that I've already done, okay? So I drew this picture out. I just want to go ahead and turn this into a vector. So the way that we would do this is just to go to image trace and then come down to this dialog box and just hit OK. Now, as you can see, it smoothed out the pixels and all that stuff. As a matter of fact, it's not even pixelated anymore. It's a straight vector. You can zoom all the way in and you can see that the edges are pretty much sharp. And that's looking pretty good to me. However, I know that I need to get this background out. So what I'm gonna end up doing is just hitting expand and then using the direct selection tool just to go ahead and click this out. So now I have this cat out the background and it's pretty much good to go. Now there's one thing that I want to do with this picture before I move forward. It's just to go ahead and right click on it and then ungroup it. There's a reason why I did that, and we'll get into it a little bit later on. But for right now, we want to turn this off and pretty much start the background. So one thing about Gucci that I really like about them, and it's anybody that emulates Gucci, is that they have to learn how to do the starburst and stuff like that. So their starburst pretty much are hand drawn, but you can emulate this in Illustrator, and I'm gonna show you guys how. So we're gonna have to go to the star tool, and I'm just gonna click anywhere. So with this star tool, you want to have two good radiuses. So the first radius is pretty much the points that stick out. The second radius is the points that stick in, and then you want to have points that pretty much go around the star. So, you know, a 3-point star, a 4-point star, a 5-point star. In this case, I want a 50-point star. Now, I don't really want this to be too large or anything like that, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn this to 15 and give this a radius of, I guess I can say, a radius of 2.5. And as you can see, this is what I get. Now, this is pretty cool, actually. It looks like something that Gucci would make, but not exactly. So what I want to do is I want to make a copy of this by going to edit, copy, or command C, and I'm gonna go back to edit and put paste in front. So, or you can put command F and get the same thing. Now the thing that I want to do here is just take the one in the front and just kind of shorten it out, and that looks pretty cool to me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna highlight both of these. I'm gonna go to my Pathfinder, and I just want to go ahead and unite all of these together. So I'm just gonna click here, and that just made it into one big shape. And then with that, I can just scale out this shape to whatever size I want it to be. Now at this point, I want to turn this starburst into a gradient, but before I do that, I want to at least make the background black and then move forward. So on layer 3 over here, I'm just going to go back to a rectangle tool. I'm just going to go ahead and make a rectangle in the background and lock that layer. And now I want to turn this into a gradient. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the object and go to the fill layer and just use the gradient in the fill layer. And that brings up the gradient panel. And in this gradient panel, I can click on one of these 2 points and just change it to a different color. I'm gonna go ahead and click on the black and turn that into maybe this red right here. And then I'm gonna add another color right here in the middle and turn that into this light yellow. On this very last one though, I want to turn that into this lime green right here. And when you click off of it, this is what you get. So if you want to go in and you want to tweak these colors, just let's say I want to make this green a different color, I can just go ahead and double click on it and then click on a different green. So now that we have this, I'm just gonna lock this layer down, and I want to put a message somewhere inside of this circle. So I'm gonna create another layer, and then I'm gonna bring up my type tool. I'm just gonna click somewhere and type out E. And that looks good, except I don't like the font, so I want to change this font to something different. And then I want to build out my word, which is just envy. So I'm gonna bring down this one right here and turn it into a V. And the reason why I'm doing it like this is because I just want to make sure that everything lines up appropriately. And that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna lock this one down as well. And I'm gonna bring up my first cat layer and just turn that on top. Now I just want to make sure that this cat layer is in a spot that looks pretty good. So I think it looks good like maybe right here. I can scale it down just a little bit. But the reason why I ungrouped everything was because now I can get these in different layers. So instead of me having everything locked in and I'm changing the colors and all that stuff, I could just click on maybe this whisker right here and it gives me the outline of everything. And that's what I want. So I want to pretty much add a stroke on this of white. And I want to bring the stroke up to maybe like 5. But instead of it looking like this, I want to open up the stroke panel and then turn that to an outside stroke. So therefore I still get everything in the inside, but the outsides are pretty much just white. Now on the inside, however, I just want to go ahead and click on that, and I want to turn the insides into this gradient. So I'm just going to bring in the eyedropper tool and just click anywhere inside the gradient that I've created to get this. Now this is looking pretty good, except I want to turn the whiskers and the stroke of this cat into this yellow that I use for this gradient. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on the whiskers and I'm going to go into the stroke. I'm going to pick that yellow. And then you guys, this is looking pretty good. So if you like this one, give me a thumbs up. However, there's just a few things that I want to kind of fix out in this. So I'm gonna go up under the cat and whatnot and just kind of make another layer. And inside of this layer, I want to make a blur. And of course, we're in Illustrator, so blurs aren't really going to be blurs. They're going to be kind of vector blurs, but that's okay. But what I want to do right here now is just kind of make a circle. I want to flip this fill and stroke to where the fill is that yellow, and we can turn off this black stroke. And if you guys see it, it's kind of making that circle or whatnot, rising sun kind of thing, which is cool, except that's not what I'm going for. I want this to blur out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on this and I'm gonna go to effects. I'm gonna drop down to blur. I'm gonna bring in the Gaussian blur. If we hit the preview, we can see what's going on. I kind of want to bring this blur down just a little bit more, kind of to where it looks as if it's glowing just a little bit, maybe a 20. And I'm gonna go ahead and okay. So this is looking pretty good. We have the cat, we have the blur, we have the effect, we have the words in. What could be next? I feel like at this point in time, we can take everything except for the background, put it into one layer, and then put a texture on top of this layer. So I'm gonna go ahead and highlight this, go to my transparencies, and then make a mask. And as you can see, everything kind of disappeared, except it really didn't. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna click on the mask, and that's gonna bring me into mask mode. So I can open up a layers panel, and it just has an opacity. And in this opacity, I can drop in whatever texture I like to use. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into my texture folder and bring in a texture that I really like. And this texture is looking pretty good to me. So what I'm gonna do here now is just kind of invert the mask just to see if I like it better inverted. And I really don't, because it's kind of darker now and all this stuff, and it's not really what Gucci would do. So I'm gonna just bring it back and I'm gonna drop the opacity down just to see if there's any fine line between what I have and what I can get, which I don't feel like I can. So I think this looks pretty good. So I'm gonna click back on the original layer and I'm gonna go back into my layers panel, and I just kind of want to tweak just a few things. So the first thing I want to tweak is just this V right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and move this over, and just to make sure that this NY is in line or whatnot, I can just go ahead and move this guide down to where it clips, and then I can just move the N and Y down. Now as a final tweak, all I want to do is just copy envy and then place it into another layer on top of everything so it can pop out the background, and that looks good to me. And that's pretty much it. So we did a lot of stuff, and I hope you guys learned a lot today. All of this stuff is pretty simple, and it really just requires you to do a lot of practicing and doing it over and over just to get it down. But if you guys did learn something, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And if you're new or fate just brought us together, then go ahead and subscribe. I do this all the time. As a matter of fact, I invite you to check out my channel and catch some more value. And remember, if there is an effect that you want me to emulate, then leave it in the comment section below. I'll definitely do it for you. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and close this one out. So stay amazing, stay creative, but above all else, stay awesome.